You,
What up? What up? What up?
we back.
Yes,
Feel
sir.
like it's been a minute. I feel like
It's only been like a week and a half for real, but we've been cranking these joints out.
with this the football program been taking up our time. But we back in the
hmm
mix. We back. All right, we back. Game 7 press conference podcast. And today we have a very, very dope guest that I'm really, really looking forward to. And also I'm happy that we're knocking this out today so my mom can stop asking me. She don't ask me, when you gonna interview Courtland? When you gonna interview Courtland?
She on it.
Like once a week. I'm like, he be busy. You feel me? I know he probably doing hard knocks right now. Whenever he
Yeah.
leave, I let you know. She asks me every week. But today we got Courtland Bragg. He started as an intern with NFL Films, worked his way up to a seasonal employee. Through hard work, he got a full-time job, and then he won an Emmy. I think two of them, two Emmy
Two of
awards
them.
for
Two of them.
Hard Knocks with the Texans. Two-time Emmy Award, associate producer. He's living his dream, reaching millions of fans through the art of storytelling. And aside from producing enterprise football stories, Courtland dedicates his life to inspiring others through his passion project called Stories About Bragg. No, excuse me, wrong. Stories to Brag About. My fault. Stories to Brag About. Let me get it right. So without further ado, Mr. Brag About Courtland. What's up, bro?
What's going on? What's up, fellas?
What up? What up?
I stole that intro from your website.
About to say, that kind of sound a little familiar.
But did you ever watch Impact Theory?
I don't think so.
You should. It's
Yeah, you
good.
got,
It's
especially with what you do, you gotta watch it, yo.
Okay.
Man, I'm actually about to take a note to send that to you. But you do you know who Tom Bilyeu is?
Mm-mm.
Okay. He has a podcast. He gives the most crazy intros to his guests, yo. Like every time they're blown away. Like I didn't even know you were talking about me. I can tell that he spends a lot of time doing that. But his mission is to be the CEO of the next Disney. So
Right.
he got a dope podcast. But enough of him. So who's Courtland? So Courtland, you grew up in. I'm gonna add Willenboro. I know you was there. Willenboro, Sicklerville, and then wherever after that. So tell us about your childhood. How was it growing up in Willenboro and Sicklerville?
Yeah, no, it was good. Like you said, I grew up in Willenboro very early, probably about from 5 to 10 years old. And then, but growing up in Willenboro, it taught me just how to work hard. I feel like everybody athletically was just talented. So you had to be great, I remember growing up with James Green. He's an Olympic wrestler. Malcolm, I played with your little brother, playing football, watching you and my older brother. Like y'all, it was just greatness all around. So it just taught me work ethic and great. And then when we did move to Sicklerville, same thing. Like Sicklerville, that's where I kind of spent most of my life, and I still live there too. It's just hard work and grit that has helped me translate to where I am now. That's where I bring it to like any environment. It's just like I'm gonna work hard. Like that's all I know. I've been doing it since I was a young boy. So hard work, grit is just gonna get me to where I need to be.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. Um, so you mentioned it already. All of us obviously were athletes, but you said that you don't think you were recognized as much as you could have been, should have been,
Mm-hmm.
because of your height. So tell us about that. KG don't know nothing about that, but I can
Yeah.
resonate. Yeah, you feel me?
Yeah, man. So on my best day, I probably am about 5'8".
mm,
I mean, at least that's what it says on my driver's license. So let me humble myself. I'm about 5'7", 5'6", 5'7", and I probably been the same height since I was when I was like 14 years old. So if anybody knows, playing at an elite level of sports or athletics, like it helps when you're the average size. And for me, that was a challenge, especially when I hit high school. I just trying to be recognized. Like, I was always good. I went. I had the potential to be great as an athlete, but I always struggled with my height. Like, wishing I was. I remember just praying, like, God, please make me taller, because maybe I'll be able to get recognized from the collegiate level. And I'm proud of myself. I was able to still play college football at the Division II level, but I always, like, my height has always been something I've struggled with, and that just dates back to being younger, because I always felt like I had to work 4 times as hard just to be recognized.
The man, from what I remember, y'all was good. Like,
You was a talk.
y'all had no issue, bro. Y'all was
Yeah.
nice, bro.
Y'all was cooking.
Now we kind of disconnected at high school because we all went our different ways. Like, and
Yeah,
one thing we always talk about, if all of the Willenboro Panthers would have played at Willenboro High, yo,
yeah,
we would
it
have
would.
been nice, dog. Like,
Yeah,
everybody that left wherever we went did numbers, yo,
yeah,
and they was already good too, just with who they had, And
agreed.
that's something that's part of the educational system. Most people left because going to Willenboro High wasn't an option for a lot of us. But
Hmm.
our football team, basketball team, every team would have been sweet. But I was surprised that you thought, or that you do think that of your height, because y'all was dogs, y'all. Like, when the Bragg boys stepped out there, y'all was sweet. Ain't your little brother? How tall is Jared?
My little brother is probably about like 5'11", so he got the height.
You got the
Me and
little
my
big
older
brother. That's
Yeah,
how
his little big brother for sure. Me and my older brother Gowan, call him G. We're about the same height, so we're about like 5'7".
G.
Um, yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, now we were good. Don't get it twisted. The Brags. Even in Winslow, like, we was nice. Like, my brother G played Division I football. Like, he was like that. He's probably the best athlete out of my family. But for me, like, I always just, and I was a year ahead of myself. So I'm actually, I graduated in 2010. I'm supposed to graduate in 2011. I skipped a grade. So
Oh, really?
I've always thought about, like, what if I was taller? What if I stayed back a year? Would I have been able to live that dream of getting a football scholarship? Because that's what coming from Willenboro, going living in Sicklerville, like, Division I was like, that's your way out. That's the epitome, and that was just something I've always wanted since I was a young boy. So, I it was tough and humbling, like, not getting that, but I just had to accept that. Like, listen, this, you gotta love who you are. You gotta love yourself. Like, this is how you were created. Make the
Mhm.
most out of it. So, I've been able to, since then, to be able to accept how God created me. But
Yeah.
something I've always struggled with, especially when I was young.
Yeah, and something I learned that I often requote from TD Jakes is that people often get upset because they didn't get the thing. You feel me? Like, you and I, we didn't get a chance to get what KG got. You feel me?
Yeah.
And even KG wanted to go to a bigger school. Ideally, he didn't get that. KG would like to still be in the league, but people don't realize that sometimes the thing that you see isn't the thing. It's the thing that leads to the thing. You feel me? Like, obviously, football in our blood. Like, we all still involved with it. Like, we just left 7-on-7 today, kind of like coaching both teams. You feel me? You working with the NFL, so it's still a part of everything that we work so hard for. But
Mhm.
so many people get stuck because, like, football is over. Like, KG can tell you, like, and too, NFL, obviously, when these dudes leave the league, they don't know what to do, yo. Like, maybe the 5-7 years of your life wasn't your calling. That was just something that opened up the door, that gave you the pedestal to do what your thing really is. So I'm gonna ask you about that. What's your experience, either from yourself, or you've seen people that didn't get the thing that they had? Like, we all know athletes that were sweet in high school and it just didn't go good for them, and then their life fell apart. So, what's your experience with that? People that didn't get the thing and didn't realize that the thing can lead to the real thing.
Man, I see that every day. Especially a lot of the a lot of my friends, dudes I used to roll with back in high school, like, having so much talent and so much, just, I mean, God given talent, and unfortunately didn't reach their full potential for whatever reason, not making the most out of their opportunities. But that's where I come in, just like with my life, is just to try to help people find a purpose, and discover, like, listen, like, your past don't matter. Like, use what you have and start where you are to get to where you want to be. But I call it a tragedy. It's a tragedy when you're not able to use what God gave you and do well with it. But I just hope that people understand it's not over. Like no matter, like you can still make it, still make the most out of your situation, but you gotta make that decision. Um, so like it's really important to turn tragedy into triumph, and I just think I hope people that are listening that feel like they have made the most out of the situation, like it's not over, like you can still make it happen.
Yeah, I could definitely piggyback off of that for sure because when it was time when I was playing, and you know, obviously my career ended a lot shorter than I expected it to be. So for me, you know, I thought that was the worst thing that could ever happen to me. Um, but what that really did, it really forced me to look deep down into who I was, break a lot of bad tendencies that I had, and then it really gave me this calling to let me know that like I always had this big energy and big power that really got people to gravitate towards me. So playing football gave me a platform. So now, after I'm done playing football, after I figured out all the kind of the trauma that I really needed to get through in order to, because Lord knows if my career didn't end early, who knows? I could still be having the bad habits, not being able to take it from anyone, because obviously, you know, the longer I'm in the league, what you gonna tell me about myself? Type of mentality. So I think that's one of the biggest blessings in my life was to actually to stop playing football earlier than expected because now it opened the gate for what we do now. And it also allowed me to open my eyes to how I needed to be better in so many aspects of my life. You know, so for me, when it first ended for me, I was devastated. You know, I was damn near 260 pounds, and it really made me dig deep and find my soul, I found my purpose in my calling in that. So, you know, for the people that's listening, it's definitely times where you think that this is what you're meant to do, but it can definitely just be a gateway to your next point in your life. Because when I was playing, I was always volunteering my time and doing different things with community relations. So this right here was just a perfect segue for me. Once I kind of figured out the things that I had to get better at, you know, it turned in, and now I'm loving what I do.
Got you. And I heard you say tragedy to triumph, right?
Mhm.
Something I always say is turn your pain into champagne,
Yeah.
and turn your mess into a message. You feel me?
Yep.
Like it's not over until you decide for it to be over. But I've heard you mention this word a couple of times, and it's like kind of like a catchword that a lot of people use, but I don't think a lot of people really understand what it means, and that's passion. And I speak to a lot of people about it, and sometimes I get a pushback from them saying that I don't know what my passion is. I don't know how to find it. So, what would you say to people in that stance
Yo,
who
man, like this,
find something can't figure it out?
yeah, this is something I feel like I've been able to really take a hold of. Your passion, or I would say your purpose. Passion and purpose are kind of the same thing, but your passion is you being able to. What are you naturally good at? What naturally comes to you, and you would do it for free. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's your passion,
Yeah.
because that's gonna have your heart beating, and you're willing to do whatever it takes, and you'll do it for free. Like for me, I love telling stories. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
storyteller. Also, that's a passion. But I have an even deeper passion. I love helping people. I love talking to young boys and young ladies and trying to help them find a purpose and inspire them. I'll do this for free.
Mm-hmm.
For the first 3 years of me speaking, public speaking, I was speaking across the country for free. I was a free. I will come as long as you give me the hour free. I never charge anybody because I wasn't doing it for money. I was doing it for to fulfill my passion.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone out there that doesn't know what their passion is, what would you do for the rest of your life for free, and that you will find joy in? That's your passion. And that helps you find your purpose. So I think you just, for those who don't know, you just got to look within and self identify why you're here. You know, one of my favorite sayings is the two most important days of your life is the day you were born and the day you find out why. Like we all know our birthday, but like why was you born? And that's deeper. Like KG, you kind of hit on it. It's deeper than just playing football.
Mm-hmm.
That's deeper than me just creating a documentary or a feature. That's deeper than like it's about what are you gonna like? Why was you born? Like why was you put on this earth? And for me, it's just like I gotta help. I gotta make the world a better place. I gotta help those who feel like they're lost internally, and those who just need a sense of hope. So, but for me, I'll go out and I'll speak to whoever will listen to do my best to inspire them. I do it strictly because that's what I was born to do. I don't need no money to do that. So that's my passion. I encourage like you have to find a passion because if you don't, you have no meaning in life. I think I'll say this and I'll wrap it up. I don't want to go on tangent. But Les Brown, one of the great motivation speakers, he said the richest place in the world is the graveyard. Like it's a tragedy
The
to
Walking Dead.
live your life, work a 9 to 5, a job that you hate, do that until you're 60, 70 years old, 80 years old, and then die.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tragedy. You and not fulfill your passion and reach your purpose. So don't add to the richness of the graveyard where people have died not writing that book, people have died not finding that cure. Like no, leave it all on earth. So when you die, you're empty. You gave it all to the world. So that would be my answer.
Nah, we gonna stay here. We're gonna
We're
stay
gonna
right here.
keep.
Right?
You push that button for him. I saw his face when you said it.
we gonna stay right here. So my thing is, I totally agree with you, but one thing I prioritize is like stepping out of myself. Like you had dope parents. You was an athlete. You was a serious athlete. So you were used to doing difficult things on a consistent basis. I truly believe so many people never did anything for a duration of time for them to even know what they enjoy, for them to
Mhm.
even know what they would do for free. You feel me? Like a lot of
Mhm.
people leave the school system, whether it's high school, whether it's college, whether it's grad school, and then they get into regular life to where that structure is no longer provided for them, right? And then all they know is their job. All they know is their family responsibilities, but they've never spent any time with themselves doing anything. And we say that the key to doing anything at a grand level, it has to be with intensity, consistency over a duration of time. And a
Yeah.
lot of people haven't done anything with intensity and consistency over a duration of time. And that's like they got to do these different kind of things to figure out what their passion is. And I believe that their passion just don't come to you. You feel me? Like you married, correct, Court?
Correct. Yeah.
Right? All right. So passion is like a wife. You're dating her. Like from the beginning, clearly you was interested in her, right? And you was passionate about that, right? And then y'all went through y'all phase to figure it out. But you had to keep dating her to find out that you was really passionate about that you really loved her. And people like they take one step in and it's the first day about something they're interested in and it's too much for them. It's like, are you interested or are you committed? Like you have to find your passion. Like you might go to school for 4 years and get a job, and then it's not it. You feel me? But then you got to date something else. So, what would you say to people about that intensity, consistency, and duration? Because I agree. Something else Les Brown says too is that most of the world is the Walking Dead. Like they just gave up and they waiting to be buried. Because they're
Mhm.
just existing and they don't have any direction. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna challenge you to go a little bit deeper. Like,
Yeah.
how do
Of
you find
course.
out what they would do for free?
Yeah. This speaks my language. I think you to what you said. You also have to go through life, and you gotta fail, and you gotta face rejection, and you gotta fail again. You gotta face rejection because all of my passions, my purpose, I found it through being kicked down on wanting to give up. A lot of people like me, I never knew that I wanted to speak and help people until I had to go through them storms. Like I tell a lot of people my story, like I was flirting so much with depression. Like the darkness of depression and after literally hating myself, not even never struggling to love who the person was looking back at me in the mirror because I was just like, dang, like when is somebody going to give me a chance? Like I had a good foundation, a good support system, but my support system couldn't get me to where I was trying to be. That was between me and God, like, and But it was through that. It was through the storms and through the struggle. A whole year, I was in the darkest time of my life, struggling, like depression all over me. But it was just not like having to pick myself up is when I and then when I was able to get over the hump or get over to the mountaintop, and then I can look back and say, you know what, it's my duty to help the next person up behind me, the person that's going through depression, the person that wants to just end it all, the person that wants to just give up. It's my duty now to help them find that. And I didn't have a lot of help during those times, but I think that's I think that's the key is just you got to keep going. Like you got to believe in yourself. You got to get through this storm because it's gonna, this storm is gonna end. It has to end. But are you gonna? Do you have what it takes to continue going? Because you said that with your mouth. Like a lot of people say, like they want to be great, they want to be successful, they want to reach their dreams, but they say that with their mouth. But when the storm comes and everything, like you got to back it up with your heart, with your walk. So my advice is you got to keep going. Your passions, your purpose will continue to go, but you got to do everything in your power every single day to find that and to get through. And I'm only saying that because that's what I had to do for a whole year. Like I had there wasn't no light at the end of the tunnel for me. I used to be literally like I didn't have an easy way to NFL. It took me 2 years to get there. I've been denied and rejected by over 100 jobs. I didn't even know I wanted to be a storyteller. I didn't know I wanted to be a director. I was a substitute teacher. I didn't know, but I had to keep on going. I never in my wildest dreams did I think I would be doing what I'm doing now. I thought I could. Like I'm like, yo, I'll be able to do some cool stories and stuff like that. But I never ever. I didn't even know what an Emmy was. Now I have two. I travel across the country. I interviewed the NFL's biggest stars. I didn't see that in the storm. I had to keep on going. And I'm a living example. You believe it and you don't give up and you have faith, it'll happen.
Well, I'm with you. And once again, let's stay here. So, just like you, I never thought I would be here. I never thought I would be no teacher, bro. Like that, and that came from a bad moment. I was I was doing things I shouldn't have been doing. Long story short, in a week I lost like 40 stacks, all gone.
Uh,
And my son was like zero. He wasn't even one yet. So I kind of had to figure it out. And my man had just got into education. He was like, "Yo, man, you should be a sub. Like you got a degree. All you gotta do is make sure the kids don't kill each other. Like literally. But that's all you got to do." And then I got in there and just started paying attention. This is when we was messing around with the real estate. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm kind of good at this, yeah." Um, and then I started taking it serious. Then I became a full-time teacher, and I went to get my master's. And through time, I noticed that my kids were struggling with the math
mm-hmm.
because they didn't know how to learn. Court like like literally, they didn't know how to listen, like just core skills, bro. And they didn't even know how to collect information, let alone learn. So in my moments of frustration, like where a lot of teachers quit, and I see teachers like literally just walk out, like F this, going, like smack all different grade levels, or come in for a week and never come back. But I started just teaching them about life, like just out of frustration. Like I had no plan on being no speaker, yo. And I found Eric Thomas on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube and
Mm-hmm.
started sharing Eric Thomas videos with them. And like that would kind of be my basis to my communication. And then through time, my kids were like, "Yo, you know that you shouldn't be teaching math. You need to be a motivational speaker and a therapist." And this, I'm a cuss because this is how they talk, but I don't give a fuck about this math shit. But when you talk to me, I will do
I go
anything.
first.
But if you don't talk to me first, I don't want to do it. So fuck this math shit and become a motivational speaker and a therapist. They would tell me all the time, all the time, all the time. And then I went to another school. Then they started saying it. And then this year, from the ET videos, I spoke in front of him and graduated from his program, right? But that was from a time where I really didn't know what I was going to do. Kind of just like the stock market. The best time to cop is when it's all the way down here. You feel me? That's the
Right.
best time, yo. But so many people they get stuck here, right? So let's
Mm-hmm.
stay on the depression thing. I'm kind of blown now because I'm literally working on this lesson, so I don't got it in my playbook yet, but I got my notes because what we strive to do is to make people more intelligent. And what we mean by that is being able to talk about one thing in various different ways. So, in like layman's terms, we've been talking about football. We all football players. Always use this example. If we all watch a play, and then Tom Brady watches the play, his analysis of that same play is going to be far more intricate than us. He can talk about that one play in all of these different ways. You feel me? Probably ways that's not on the stream, right? To be intelligent. So let's stay at depression, because I'm gonna speak for all three of us, but we all been there. Me was primarily uh, at my job right after college. It was just no good, bro. It was nothing that I thought of. KG's had his time, and you share your time. So let's break that down. So for depression, we got your thoughts, your moods, your physical effects of it, and your behaviors. I think a lot of people talk about depression, but like they don't really know what it is, or they'll confuse depression with anxiety. Like anxiety is when you're scared of something that's really not there, or you're scared
In
of
the
something that's
future.
going to happen that may happen, the future. Depression is when you're happy because of something in the past that affects you in the present. You know. So, what do you think had you the most? Thoughts, moods, your physical effects, or your behaviors? And then we'll dive in. What was most difficult
I
for
would
you?
say thoughts, moods, and my behavior. I just remember like not even like completely shutting myself off from the world, not wanting to go anywhere, locked in my room. Remember vividly like just laying like I wouldn't even lay in my bed, like I'd be on the floor just looking up and it just hating my life, like hating where I was at. Um and just constantly replaying like, you know, the times when I was in high school, like everyone, like I didn't get that opportunity, like didn't get that full scholarship, like college passed up on me, like it's just replaying, just like failure after failure after failure, and it's just like, nobody could help me, and
Yeah.
I didn't think I wanted to help, and I tell a lot of people like sometimes you have to be your cheerleader, like you can't be looking for people to pick you up, like you have to, like you got to look yourself in the mirror and say it's gonna be good, and after a while, like I had to learn that, like, yo, the situation ain't going to change if you keep on being like this. Like, you got to find ways to express not. And I think this is something in the black community, especially black men, like we don't talk about. Like, I try to encourage young black men who going through this or just anybody. Like, one thing that I found as an outlet is like a journal. Like, I used to just like almost like a diary. Like I used to just write what I was going through. Like, all right, date. This is the time, and like just let my mind go. And I found healing through expressing what I was going through the paper. At least it wasn't in my mind. I was getting I was allowing it to get out of my mind. And then, I think I went through it for about a year, but it was just it was a tough time, and I'm gonna tell you, it made me like I'm not to say like I wish this on everybody, but it did make me stronger. But beyond anything, I can help others heal because
Yeah.
I went through it. So
Mhm. No
yeah,
doubt. What about you, KP?
Yeah, my depression definitely came, excuse me, from me knowing that I didn't do enough early enough, and me knowing that some of the decisions that I made were ultimately the ones that led me to not play again. So it was like me living in regret, me kind of hiding those feelings, because like I said, I've always been kind of a energetic guy. So putting on a front that everything was cool, but knowing that deep down inside I had all these thoughts. So mines were definitely mostly my thoughts, and I would say physical as well, because when I was really going through it, I gained a lot of weight. I mean, it wasn't like I was super fat, but it was just like I was way thicker than I usually was. Um, and then it was just my moods. Like I would go from being feeling good to having that thought cycle just spiral me into just bitterness and resentment. So it was definitely my thoughts for sure. Um, but I agree with Court. Like I think that's what I needed. I needed that. I needed to have that time, and to me, I call that my enlightenment period. When all these things, and the woman I was dating at the time, I would try to express that, but she wouldn't be able to reciprocate kind of like the mental stimulation conversations that I was needed. So to me, I felt like I was going crazy. I had all these thoughts, and then I went to share with someone, and they didn't really know how to really engage in the conversation that was kind of deeper than surface level. So where you found your piece with journaling, I found my piece by opening up to my core group of guys. Um, that I knew they were going to listen to me. I was going to be able to be vulnerable. I could trust that all the things that I was saying to them, that it was going to stay with me. And then once I started getting through this, and then I started hearing some different perspectives about things that I was struggling with, it helped me see different avenues and different ways of thinking versus just just being living in regret and living like I failed, and living with so much disappointment. So once that happened for me, I was able to kind of turn it around, and it definitely, like you said, it definitely made me want to help someone else, because I knew the feelings that I had, I knew the thoughts that I had, and that wasn't something I was very proud of. And especially with me having to, nowadays on Instagram, if you had that blue check, people look at you like you a guy, unfortunately. um and for me, I just decided that I was going to go into education, and then I also decided that I was going to kind of help people come back to life, because that's exactly what I needed, and people around me. And I kind of dedicated my life to that ever since I made that initial step to just let those thoughts and feelings out, because a lot of times we always think that we're alone and going through something, but we all know that every single person that you see has a conflict, at least one conflict in their lives that they're struggling with. So I think the more that we can kind of bring that awareness, and especially just like you said, especially with Black men, we're taught to be so tough and thick-skinned and have this kind of facade up that we don't want to act like a little punk. I definitely think that's needed for sure, and it's going to help relationships. It's going to help becoming better men and leaders in society, because we're getting rid of the stigma of thinking that it's weak to talk about your problems. And because to me, that's personally the strongest. To me, that's one of the ultimate strongest things that you can do as a person, is to talk about your things that you struggle with freely, and discuss that with other people, so they can kind of get better with what they do. Because not everybody wants to just see the finished product. No one just wants to see the finished product. People want to see the journey and what it took to get there. So, going through that struggle, and just like y'all said, like the stock market, when it's the best time to buy is when it's down. Like when you're down, like what else do you literally have to lose,
Yeah.
rather than going to explore different things, different ways to try to better yourself. So that's what I did, and I did it confidently, because I knew it was just bigger than me. Like that's one thing that really clicked for me. It's not always about Kendall. And once I learned that, it kind of, it was a catalyst for me to chase something, to chase the greatness that I always had, but I was kind of scared to do.
It's
All right.
good.
Dope responses, both of y'all. So let's stay there and break that down, because we also want to help people have solutions so that they can be able to do the things that we all did to get through it.
Hmm.
So one way that I learned to frame this for people to be able to see is life is like a clock. Time is always going. But like KG said, his enlightenment period, eventually in life you're gonna hit a bottom, right?
Hmm.
6 o'clock. You feel me? And like that's the checkout point. Some people check out the game, right? Or some people check out and use their new resources, right? So which way do you check out? Like a lot of people who are in tough situations, they complain and all that, but they tolerate it. You'll never get past 6 o'clock until you hate it. Like I refuse to be like this. Like I'm gonna start reading, I'm gonna start learning, I'm gonna do everything in my power to get past 6 o'clock. And what people don't realize is like once you commit, once you stop trying and commit, like once you get past 6, does the hand go backwards? No,
Mm-mm.
you can only go forward, but you got to be able to get past that low point. All right. So what I tell people is before you check out, like, you know, your food stamps card, check your EBT. Right. E is environment. B is your body. T is time. Right. Your environment is very, very, very important. Like for example, when Courtland said he was laying on the floor, if you notice that's a low point spot for you, X that out. Don't lay on the floor no more. Change your
Yeah.
environment. You can still feel sad, right? But go do some research. Like Tony Robbins, he always talks about there's scientific proof that if you down and just trick yourself and start smiling, cheesing, and you start to trick your brain, right? You
Mm-hmm.
change your environment. Or KG used our group chat to be able to change his environment to get things out. Or you use your journal to get things out, right? Next is your body, right? You gotta take care of yourself, yo. You gotta work out. I suggest that you eat right. You know, like we're seeing now with the corona. You feel me? There's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people who wasn't taking care of themselves that got bit with it. You feel me? And it's more so them than older people. Like the older people thing, it's a lot of older people, but the average age of death for people dying from corona is older than the average age of death. People without the corona. You know? And then check your time. Like what are you doing with your everyday thing? Like we got so much time, man. Like we watch every show, we on every social media platform, we watching every verses, but we won't pick up a book. Or we won't study a YouTube, not just watch it. We won't take the notes, or we won't seek out a mentor. Like all of these things that you should do with your time, right? So I always say before you check out, check what you're doing with your environment, body, and time, right? And after you analyze that, the groceries that you bring with you are also very, very important. You know, something that I just talked to the kids about the other day. Court, what happens when you squeeze an orange?
Juice comes out. You're extracting the juice.
You're extracting the juice. And what's the texture of that juice? Like, is it sticky? Like what? Orange juice.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. A sticky juice gonna come out. All right. So you got a soda, right? Shake it up too. You squeeze it as hard as you can. What's gonna happen?
It's going to explode.
It's gonna go everywhere, right? All right. Now what about water? You shake it up, squeeze it. What's gonna happen?
Same.
No, water not gonna explode like no
Well, no,
soda.
it's not explode. Well, you know, if it's yeah, I got you.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I got you.
the cap might come off, but it ain't gonna be
the,
like
it's
soda.
not gonna go all over the place, but
Yeah,
it may
it's
spill
more
a little
controlled,
bit.
Right.
Right.
right? It's more controlled. So my
Right.
point is, whatever's inside of somebody, that's what's gonna come out. You feel me? When life shake you up or you get squeezed up, if you haven't been putting the right thing in you, that's what's gonna come out. So if you mad and sad and everything, it's probably because you're not putting the right thing in you, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's cool that you go through stuff. Some things not gonna be your fault, but it's your responsibility to get through it. So you got
Yeah.
to make sure you're putting the right stuff in it. And the most powerful between the orange and the soda is the water. Water is the most powerful force of nature in the world. You feel me? And the dope thing about it is it's literally and figuratively, it's so fluid. Like
Mm-hmm.
nothing stops it. Even if it hits a wall, it's just gonna keep crawling down the wall until it hits a hole and it's gonna get through it. So we gotta be like water, you know, and there's no coincidence. That's what most of us, our body is made up of, is water, you know. So it's very, very important to take the right groceries, you feel me, and overcome that EBT. Because once you get past 6, there's no turning back. You know, God directs you, the universe directs you, whatever you believe in, something else takes over. And then something you said too, Court, I can't remember, but I wrote it down. As you're going through this journey, a lot of people quit too early because they're not getting what they want, like when they want it. Like for example, you got the 2 Emmys. You weren't worried about no Emmys. You feel me? Because you were focusing on what you were becoming as opposed to what you were getting. You know, I think that's a big one. Whenever you're going through your process, which ideally probably should be never ending, always focus on who you're becoming, not what you're getting. Because as you become a better person, a better speaker, a better mentor, a better athlete, people gonna notice. You feel me? And those other things will start to come. So I think those were dope responses, but I just thought it was important that we break it down so that people, whoever's ready for it, because we can't do nothing for you. You gotta be ready for yourself.
Yeah.
Whoever's ready for it can take it and try to use it for themselves. Um, but so let's go back to football. You got into 8 different schools, but you were kind of upset because you didn't get your D1 scholarship. So what school did you go to, and how did that turn out for you?
Actually, I went to two universities. So I originally went to a Division III school, Widener University in Chester, Pennsylvania,
Okay.
and I was being recruited by mostly Division II schools. I felt Widener, they had a new coach, and I felt like I could be an impact player immediately. But that school wasn't for me. My first year, I definitely wasn't happy being there. So I ended up transferring to Westchester University in Pennsylvania, outside of Philly, and it was a great journey for me. Sometimes I wish I would have went straight to Westchester, but life is about stepping stones, as we mentioned earlier. I had to go to Widener to get to Westchester, in which Westchester I was able to find my passion of storytelling. I don't think I would have been able to find that at Widener or anywhere else. So everything in life, in my life, worked out, and I was able to play football there. Had a really great career. Played on one of the winningest teams in school history, and which was cool. And was able to kind of fulfill my childhood dream. I was able to earn a scholarship my senior year. So it was a good journey for me.
What'd you play? Corner?
I played cornerback my first 2 years, and then my last year I played wide receiver.
What inspired the switch?
I felt I played in a crowded defensive backfield with some guys that was some dogs. They was thorough. Like one of my best friends. He played in the league for a little bit. He's an All-American. He was nice, and I was like a role player, special teams guy. I never was a star. We had a lot of good players, but wide receiver, I kind of felt like I was able to maybe really showcase my talent, and make more of an impact on a team. So, but I played my role. And I actually had one more year left, but like I said, like that NFL dream, I knew I wasn't gonna make it to NFL, so I started thinking about my plan B, as we talked about earlier. And I tell a lot of people I still made it to the NFL, just in a different way. So it all worked out.
Yeah. And then Westchester, bro, that's a throwback. I remember, I don't know, like 5th grade, Deuce Staley had his camp there, and I got MVP. That's the last time that I even heard Westchester.
That was before he was about damn 400 pounds.
Man, he need a head coaching job somewhere too, man.
He do.
Yeah, he does.
He do. He do.
We getting up to that point. So tell us about the Emmys. Like how did that happen?
Yeah, man. So 2015, that same year, I kind of was getting out of my low point. I was able to go back to NFL Films, and a lot of people know, like, I really didn't want to go back, to be honest, because I was looking for a full-time job. I needed security, but I didn't have a choice. Like, it was the only option I had, and my student loans was kicking my butt, so I needed money. I needed consistent money, so I went back and just did everything that was asked upon me, and happened to be working on Hard Knocks with the Houston Texans. So, did what it was asked upon me to do. And so Hard Knocks is a monster of a show, and it's a lot of us on there. There's a big team, so I did what is asked upon me, and the show was actually a really good show from the field to the production side at Films, and that year we won an Emmy, and it was just like, yo, this is crazy. Like, so I was just a substitute teacher, and then that same year I got hired full time too, when I was 21 years old. So like my life just changed in like 1 year. So I like to tell people, like, yeah, like your breakthrough is right in front of you. Like, no matter how dark it looks, like you just gotta keep on going. Cause I couldn't see this. Like, I was just stuck in my situation. But that same year, I went from substitute teacher to full time at Films, and then won an Emmy, and then I've been there 5 years in September, and I've been nominated on four. Been nominated for four, and fortunately won two. So like, it's dope. I assistant directed on the Hard Knocks last year with the Raiders. That's up for an Emmy. The Emmys are next month, so it'd be nice to see if we can win another one. So, but beyond anything, like, it's just, I don't take it for granted. I'm very grateful to be able to do what I do and work for NFL Films and have these opportunities. So it's been dope.
2000. Oh, sorry about that, Malc. With the Houston Texans, that's one of my favorite ones, because my homeboy and podcast watch listeners right now, he in the DMs yesterday. We didn't agree to a date yet, but he agreed to getting on the show. My homie, my old roommate, my old teammate, Charles James.
Charles James. He
Charles
the
James.
star.
Yeah.
Charles James is in the Hard Knocks Hall of Fame right now.
Yeah. Hey, that man, he is a dope character because he came from a school that was so small. Him himself he's a small guy, but his heart and his energy is humongous. When he walks in the room, obviously everyone who's seen the Hard Knocks with the Texans will definitely know who Charles James is. So,
Yeah.
you know, do you have any kind of funny stories or anything like that you can kind of throw out there? Because I know my boy CJ is a wild dude, so I know we're gonna hear it a little bit when he gets on the show. Let's hear.
Make sure you ask him about his experience with NFL films for Hard Knocks. So I actually was back in New Jersey, part of the editing process of the show. So I wasn't actually in the field like I am today.
Yeah.
But from what I remember, Charles James is like his personality popped up the screen. You know, he's like one of the shorter cornerbacks, but
Tiny.
he reminds me like of a Kevin Hart. Like you gonna know he's around, and but not. And he was a dog. Like he was a dog. Like he reminded me of like Allen Iverson. Like he had heart, and but one thing is like that a lot of people remember him is like his sock collection. Like, and that's something that we definitely expanded on. Like it stood out. Like he has swag, and he brought it. Like his socks was his swag, and like it translated to on the field. You know, and he had a good run. You know, he was able to make the team, and he played in the league for a couple of years, and he did his thing. So I wonder what Charles James is doing now.
I still talk. He was with the XFL before it shut down. You know, but I know he does stuff with clothes and stuff like that, I believe. But he's still trying to grind. He's still getting it. So you know, he all forward. He is no going back with him. He's all forward. So I know I just had to ask a question about that because he's going to be a future guest on the show as well. So I just had to ask.
Yeah, of course.
You got it. Malc. I said, you got anything regarding the Hard Knocks, or what was the moment where you were just like, yo, like I'm really doing this? Like I know you just said like you were 21. Well, can you describe that moment? It was like, yo, like I'm really on this platform and I'm doing my thing, and I deserve to be here.
Yeah, I think that happened to me last year. So, like, I grew up playing football. I feel like every high school football player has watched Hard Knocks, especially like in the early 2000s, like that Miami Hard Knocks with Chad Johnson and Rex Ryan when they were doing it with the Jets. So I would, because that was our way of getting ready for the season. Like, come out in August, we ready for training camp. So it was, I think for me, when I got the films, and Hard Knocks was like one of the biggest shows we produced, I've always wanted to be in the field. Like, I've always had dreams of being a director because I'm a people person. I love talking to people. Like, I love hearing about people's stories. And when I first got the films, I was like, yo, it would be a really big dream if I can do this, like being out in the field directing. And last year was my first year with the Raiders. I was actually in the field. We were out in Napa, California with the Raiders with Antonio Brown and that experience. But being out there, I was like, yo, like I'm here. Like I'm away from my family. I'm making this sacrifice, but I'm doing the things that my 21-year-old self just dreamt about. And I think that for me it was a really, really dope experience. And just the camaraderie with the crew out in the field it was super dope. Last year I think I was like, dang, like hard work pays off, because all I could do was dream about it. And it wasn't easy to it's not easy to be a director on Hard Knocks. Like, you gotta earn your stripes, and it took me 4 years, but I'm very, very glad that it happened, and now I'm in my second year. So I don't take it for granted. Every day I wake up and like it brings back to my younger self. Like I gotta be the best, and it's not by so much by talent or my gifts. It's by hard work. I gotta outwork everybody, each and every day. So it's been a blessing being able to work on this show.
And speaking of that, you say you're now a member of the Athletics NFL's 40 under 40. Um,
Yeah.
let's tell everybody, how old are you first? Tell everybody.
Yeah, I'm 27.
27. Uh-oh, you getting up there, bro.
I
You
am touching 30.
hey.
We're a couple years away.
Yeah,
20,
man.
but tell us about that. How did that come about?
Yeah, man. That was talk about blessings. I don't know. I don't know how I got even recognized or nominated. But it's just a testament that that you never know who's watching you. You never know who's watching you, so you always have to just be on. Do your thing, and um, I'm more than just a storyteller. Like I'm someone who's passionate about diversity and inclusion, as well as equity. I'm passionate about mentorship, so I wear a couple different hats. Mostly things I volunteer on. Being a mentor for our interns when they come into NFL films, helping them develop, kind of being their coach or teacher to help them. That substitute teaching, it taught me so much about mentoring and helping and giving back to those who need help. So I do that at films. I'm very been taking a huge role of just trying to create opportunity for people of color with the emphasis of blacks. So I think I think that has helped me kind of be recognized a little bit by the leaders at the NFL, which I'm very thankful for. So yeah, I was completely shocked. I was like, "Dang, me? Like, how did I even get on this list?" Because the people on there are just amazing. So it's definitely not just from my storytelling. I think it's just a lot of the hats I play. I think kind of helped me out, but all in all, I'm very thankful to be on that prestigious list.
Yeah, that's dope, man.
You're
But
gonna be on there for a while too if you keep it up, bro.
Yes, yes, sir. Now I don't plan on stopping. Like one thing
yeah,
about me, KG and Malc, like this ain't about me, man. It's not about me. It's like it's about the next person coming up. It's about the people from Willenboro, from Sicklerville that just need a tangible example. Like it's not about me. I don't care about the accomplishments or the stories I tell. It's like how many people did I help along the way? Like that's how I measure my success in my accomplishments. So I'm very thankful. But for me, it's like that's why I stay hungry. That's why I can never get complacent because it's not about me.
mhm. That's another gem because that feeds directly into your why. You know, like we all say, like in our depression phase, we were suffering because it was about us. You feel
Yeah.
me? You only suffer when it's about you. But when it's about somebody else, you struggle. And that's how you grow. You grow through struggle. You feel me? But it's so important for you to find that passion, for you to find that why so you can struggle through it. But when you get stuck on you're never going to get it. And I think that's something that a lot of people either they don't talk about or they don't get. You feel me? And that's hard for me to judge because, like you said, especially in our culture, we don't talk about too much.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fluff and trends and he say and she say, and we don't really dive in deep, you know. But I do think it's important, like you said, for people to find that why because when it's not about you, you'll get the hard things done. Like tomorrow morning, if you got to get up at 5 to go to work and you don't got no kids, you might not go. But if
Hmm.
it's tomorrow morning, 5 years from now, and you got a 4 year old and a 3 year old, and like you say, or you had your loans to pay, you got a reason, you're gonna find a way because it's not about you no more. Like you could thug it out on the couch, but you can't thug it out on the couch with you and your 4 year old and your 3 year old, you know?
Right.
So once you find that reason where it's not about you, that's where you take off. But I heard you mentioning, and you also had it in your notes. You talked about your recruiting and trying to help other Black people get opportunities. So tell us about your recruiting and promotion of Black employees in the league.
It's so important. I mean, I think now the country has woken up and realized the need uh, to break the systemic racism and the barriers that prevent people of color, people, African Americans, blacks from getting opportunities. And for me, like it has been a career struggle being the only one in the room and being the only one in a crew, the only one of color. Um, a lot of times where I even struggle with like, dang, do I even deserve to be here? Because I don't have anybody to look up to. The ceiling is glass. It's a glass ceiling. There's no one that looks like me been able to break these glass ceilings. So these things are the burdens that I face, and I know other people of color, other blacks have struggled with. So for me, it's just like, again, like how can I put other people on that look like me? You know, that is my job. Like, how do I create an environment or at least open doors that I'll never be able to sit in? Invite people to the tables I'll never be invited to be in. So, you know, I never when I start I've been doing this for about 3 years since I was 24. A lot of people don't understand I do a lot of things behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started to do it, I was like, why me? Like I didn't go to school for this. I don't know what I'm doing. But as I gotten older, I was like, why not you? Like, you don't know what you're doing, but you're the perfect person to do it. You figure it out, and it'll add to your testimony. So it's something I'm passionate about, especially being in NFL. You know, I believe 75% of our players are black. You know, I think it's important to have on the other side, the corporate side, for us to have a diverse group of people serving our players as well as telling stories of our players. It just makes for a better company, and I just think for any environment, having a diverse mindset of people, it breeds great potential out of a company or organization. So I think it's time for us to push the needle forward towards evening the playing field.
No doubt. That's another one too. Like you, you start to win once you graduate from why me to try me. You feel me? Like we always talk about, you gotta have that dog. Like I don't care if you 6'4". You feel me? I'm gonna eat your
Yeah.
hips up. You feel me? I'm gonna find a way. You know, but that why
Right.
me, once again, that's the suffer as opposed to that struggle. It's try me. I'll struggle through it. So once again, another gym. So before we leave, let's talk about your mentoring and your speaking. Is that through you? Is that through the NFL? How are you doing that? I know
Mm.
you're volunteering your time, but how's that process go for you?
Yeah, that's strictly me. That's strictly me, and something I really, really want to do once we can get out of this COVID environment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've I've been able, like for me, I my target demographic I think is the college and high school students, but also I think speaking to elementary students, whomever, like whoever is going to has an ear to listen
Mm-hmm.
and needs help, um, or needs direction or guidance, but something I truly truly love. And for me, the perfect world would be able to tell stories for the NFL as well as like doing that full time as well as being a full time speaker.
Gotcha.
Now I've been transitioning to the Zoom calls, like speaking to classes and stuff of that nature, but which is fine. I know it's relevant to the times, but my passion, my true passion is like it grows deeper than telling stories. It's helping these young kids because
Mm-hmm.
I see, y'all are educators, y'all are teaching like these young kids need help, they need examples, and they not trying to hear no noise. Like you gotta be living out what you saying, and we all are. So but there's a huge group, especially our black men, like they need to hear from good examples. So I've made it my acceptance and my calling to
Mm-hmm.
help these young kids out. So that's something I just want to continue doing and actually be like something I do like almost full time as much as I can.
Gotcha. Well,
Uh,
I'll say, if you want to get paid, I know you're doing it for the right reasons, but also something that can help you extend your reach, as you know, is those financial resources. Like that's exactly what we do, and we even talking about through the COVID. Like we right here, bro. Before that boom, it's like
we
yo, we
nah, right before COVID, we was here, boy. Now
That's
even
we
the
even now right here, you feel me? And we was talking about yo, we probably need like one more person, you know, and we're in the process. I guess I can say I wasn't going, but we building like an online university, um, and we're doing a bunch of Zoom things. Like the other day, we barely made it. We had three different things to do on three different Zoom calls, you know, and we almost didn't have enough people. And also, like I said, I went to school with ET to figure out how to work that game. So if that is something you want to do, obviously you're gonna need the financial resources to maximize your gift. You feel me?
right.
And so we can talk about that on the side. I do got some things that maybe could help you. And already, bro, like I looked at your stuff. Like you doing all right. You feel me? So you got
Appreciate it.
sure you getting your work, bro. And
Agreed.
Keith, I was watching the video, the dude from Philly you just interviewed.
Stories on stories to brag about.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mont Brown.
You produced and directed that whole thing?
Yeah. I have a team as well. Where we all work together, but I kind of wear many hats, finding the stories, working with one of my best friends who shoots it, and then
Okay.
one of my other best friend who helps me edit it, post production, voiceovers, also shooting it. So I assemble a small team, but so I can't take all the credit, but
Mhm.
it's something that we've been doing since college, and they believe in the vision, and something that I also hope to do full time when I
Yeah.
can, when I have
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
You
Nah, but
make it.
that joint official, yo. Like
Thank you.
I can see myself flipping through the channels and running into that. You're
Yeah,
welcome.
one day I hope to be on. Hopefully, Lord willing, now I'll be able to do that on national television one day. So speaking
Yeah.
into existence, I just know I got to take care of some things right now.
She is. There she is. It ain't right unless we get the comment from Miss Debbie. There you
Miss
go.
Debbie, it's
Yeah.
been a while. Thank you for checking us out.
Yeah, she watched everything Game 7 movie. All right, Courtland. So let's see.
No one got it right. I already know where this segment is going.
Nobody got it right. So here goes your question. Where is your favorite place to shop?
Like me personally,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
oh, Nike.
Dang, hurt my heart. KG, tell my man what the answer is. Tell
Game
my man
7. Shut down.
Uh,
right.
We got
dang, I be a bit.
Buffalo Saints.
That's right. We're gonna introduce you to it. So next time you're gonna get the answer right.
I got you.
You say Nike quick too. You're like Nike.
Yeah, he said it quickly.
Game 7.
Here we go.
Game 7 even shot.
See, we coming for you on the production tip, Courtland.
I love it. I love it, man. It's dope.
And but next time you go, now you know the answer. Game 7 shot.
Yes,
And
sir.
that's even another story for whoever gets to watch it. Our plan for it is totally blown now because of the virus. Because our mentors told us to only do 3 or 4 different designs at a time, right? Cool. But we did like 1,200. Like we got them on deck, and every 30 days we was going to put out a new cycle. But as soon as we started is when the virus came about. And then the suppliers, like we can't order no more shirts besides the ones that we already got. Like to do
Dang.
photos and stuff.
Yeah.
So we kind of just thugging it out. But we ain't gonna quit.
Yep.
Um, but in closing, appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you too.
Dope guest. I can tell you put a lot of time into what you do, and I can't wait to see you become a star. Whether I don't know what the biggest film award is, but you can get it, and you will
Thank
get it.
you.
Make it happen. But then also, I'm gonna challenge you. I know you're doing it for the right reason. When you out here talking, people out here getting paid for it. And even if you take none of that money for you, you can save it and give it for a scholarship or get an intern or do something to help somebody. So when you drop it in bars, people out here getting paid for it. Not
Yeah.
all the time, but we gonna figure that out. So I'm gonna give you the big cousin push to make sure you're getting that bread coming in too. You feel me?
I feel
Yeah.
you.
I'm gonna follow up with this. I understand, like when you first do this, you like, yo, like I'm getting paid just to talk to people. Like, nah, you gotta understand, you getting paid for your services, you getting paid for your experiences, and also that the experience that you give, that you provide to your audience. Obviously, statistically proven, not everyone in the audience is going to be comprehending everything you're saying, but all it takes is those that 1 to 10 people that's locked in, that is going to change their life. Then they're going to remain that cycle. Then they'll go down, they'll help somebody else, and it's all come from you. So don't feel bad that, you know, you had to go through that or get money. Like, bro, like, you are someone who is very credible. And I'm sure the people that say you'll do it for free, like, they'll look at you like you crazy when you probably say, nah, I'll do it for free, because they understand the magnitude of who you are and what the things that you accomplished too. Because, you know, obviously you have NFL and Emmy attached to your name. Like, yo, come on. That's already at least setting a low bar. Like, that bar, yeah, you can start off where you need to. So just, I'm not sure if, I doubt it's a confidence thing. It sounds like you just trying to be a good guy, but good guys get bread too, my guy.
Yeah.
good guys get bread.
Good guys get a lot of bread. You feel
me? Yeah, it's time for the price to go up. You know.
Yeah.
So now I appreciate it. Definitely, you know, iron sharp irons, and I need a little push to kind of like open my horizon. Like, yo, start charging for your worth. So.
And that was something with me too. Like, I'm like, yo, let's just do it. You feel me? But my man just always like, no. You feel me? We ain't doing, like, we volunteer, like, we still doing things, we did something for free today. But once I figured out and really listening to ET, it's like, yo, you can take that to help more people. You don't gotta take it and put it in your pocket, or take it to get a better camera so your videos are better, or take it to help somebody who's experiencing depression, or take it so you can get that flight to the school that you couldn't reach before. You know, it's all about what you plan to do with it. Because money only highlights your character. If you're a bad person, you get some bread, you got more access to bad stuff. If you're a good person, you get some bread, you're gonna help other people do good stuff. You know. But we'll talk offline about that. Don't hesitate to hit me up. I'm not gonna hesitate to hit you up. I appreciate you, and keep it moving, big guy.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all too, man. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, y'all. Peace out.